rolling with retards. And I use that term loosely, all right? So don't go out here hunting me down for using this terminology. It's really just a matter of speech so that you can understand what it is to deal with these kind of people. So I got to take you back just a little bit. I used to hang out with these dudes, certified knuckleheads, having the time of our lives, tyrannical monsters. They ran amok. And the guy in particular, I'm going to just call him Jay. He had an Astro van that his parents gave him. And it was a very sturdy Astro van. And man, did we run amok. We tore up the town in that little, soccer mom van. And the interesting thing with that Astro van was the amount of things that we did. Without getting into too much detail, we ran over prostitutes. This dude would pull out. He was crazy. He was a maniac, and I was just tagging along. He would pull out. He would see black dudes, and he would pull over, grab his little mini Dodger bat, and whack them in the head and take their phones, or just whack them just for sport. And there was a lot of tension in that area, So naturally, he was just trying to punish the blacks. And so there was that. We even got shot one time. We got shot at a couple times. Like, just stupid stuff that was happening in this Astro van. I mean, I don't understand how we never got in trouble. But, I mean, it's just like, how many things did that Astro van, the lives that Astro van lived with us, the type of adventures that this vessel of sort of adventure took us on was fascinating to me. I mean, it even got to the point where these dudes, I never indulged, but these dudes were doing, crystal in the back, on these glass like tube like forms, and they were doing crystal in the back, hotboxing the back seat. I mean, it was nuts. I mean, now that I think about it, I'm like, the world that I was in, right? But that was my environment. That was, at the time I was looking for fun. I was looking for a sense of community and belonging, and that's where I found it with these. At the time it was fun stuff, and at least I can say, I'm not glorifying it, but it was fun at the time. Especially running over, women pre-OnlyFans. Now, what can you do? Maybe send them a hateful message before you could run them over. So that was fun. The other thing I remember one time in particular, I'm saying this guy was an animal. One time we went to a quinceañera, which is like a Mexican sweet 16. And I don't know, he got into it with someone, and it ended up being like the girl that he was trying to talk to, it ended up being her father. I don't know what happened. They went back and forth. Dude put a quick little beating on him, left him in the bushes, and then took the girl. And then the girl was like, fell in love with him. And it was funny because she was like, yeah, my dad needed that beating. And it was just funny how like that was very Victorian, beat the girl's dad's ass and then take the woman. I mean, it was like super funny. It was like something out of a movie. But, this is all fun and games when you're 19, not when you're 29 or 39. If dudes are still talking like this after a while, you should be concerned. I can look back and say this was a very long time ago. And the reality was I was just tagging along. I was too nice and too cute and too innocent to ever actually do anything. If anything, I was the guy to be like, hey, guys, like no, please, let's not do this. Let's not beat up a guy and just leave him there sleeping, and waking up to God knows what. I mean, so you slowly, you want to weasel yourself out of that. You don't want to be rolling around with these type of dudes, eternally. And, and if there's a lesson here, one of the guys that used to hotbox in the back seat, let's just call this guy Patches O'Houlihan. I mean, Buddy was doing, he was doing like the crystal stuff, the meth, and one thing led to another. He never stopped, unlike other people that were in the back seat. Some of them are probably in prison. God knows what happened. This guy never stopped. Fast forward, I get in touch with him, and he tells me he's still doing the same thing in the same room, in the same, just everything about what he described was the same thing we had done when we were 19. And for a man to be that defeated by something outside of himself, by an external force, was eye-opening for sure, to say the least. So I say all that to be, for you, is to be mindful about who you decide to associate with, short-term, long-term, and the interim. Because if, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, I had stayed in that environment, I would have had very similar results, possibly the type of outcomes they have, baby mothers, drug addictions, drinking into a stupor, not realizing, that the day has begun, just running around doing dumb stuff and never really growing up and never realizing that there's more to life than living like a degen. And so it's just something to think about. If you are sort of wondering why you're around the type of crowd you're around, then you should probably sit down and reconsider. And you might have to forge your own path and go your own route. And it might be lonely, but you have to be okay with that. Otherwise, rolling with these type of dudes is not going to get you anywhere productive or anything that's going to get you into a positive place. It's just something to consider, okay? I hope this helps, and I'll see you in the next one.